Someone wrote in and said that my first poly relationship was a flop. We connected, we had a really nice time, and suddenly the couple decided they weren't poly and dumped me. And then the boyfriend contacted me and was proposing a separate relationship with me, and the girlfriend was all upset. They're playing me hot and cold, and it's really draining. I want a poly relationship, but I'm not really sure if I should do it with this couple, and I'm afraid I might have that kind of connection with other people. How do I make sure that I have control and in what happens and get respect? This is Reid Mahalka from readaboutsex.com.
It's Cathy from the intimacydojo.com. So that I understand this. This person was in a relationship, poly relationship.
Yep, her first.
With her primary, and then they were dating a couple, or just one of the people in the couple.
From what I understand, there was a single person who was dating a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then who dumped her?
That they decided that they were not going to be open anymore.
Okay.
They were going to be.
They leave.
Yeah, but then he comes back and says, "Hey, I like you. Let's connect."
But he's still with her.
Yeah, and then she's also connecting and saying, "Don't do this because we're not monogamous. We're now monogamous."
So, okay, let me get this straight. Single poly person.
Yep.
Dating a couple that's poly.
Yep.
They decide to go monogs. Mm-hmm. And now he wants to still date her.
Yeah.
Even though they're monogs.
Yes.
Leave. Not safe. Right? They have an agreement to be monogamous. Off limits. Alert, alert. Danger, Robinson, danger. Yeah, I think that's the simple answer.
It is, and there is I've had this happen before too.
Okay.
Or that there was weird communication between like what we agreed and then what was happening later, and one person contacting me and the other one saying something different, and it's really confusing and stressful.
For me, whenever I'm dating somebody who's in a couple, I want to check in with the couple every once in a while. Mm-hmm. If they already agreed to be monogamous, like that's why they broke up with you. Then if he's like, oh, it's okay for me to be poly now, talk to the other one. Be like, is that real? Is that true? Or is that person lying? Like,
it doesn't even have to be lying. It's just, can we all make sure we're on the same page about what is agreed upon? Mm-hmm. Let's sit down together and have coffee, or let me meet both of you separately if that's better. But it is really confusing. It's frustrating if you're out there trying to date and you find a couple that you really like, because it can be twice as hard to find a couple that you like because there's two people involved. If you want to date as a three, they were
like all three of them dating.
Yeah.
So it's like a
it was originally
triad that's all connected.
Yeah. And that can be like, you're like, oh, I finally found this couple that I really like, and then it's all falling apart, or the communication is really weird. So if you can just be gentle with yourself and realize that this is a learning process. It was your first poly relationship. Experience makes it easier. You start picking out little things in communications, and
it's also, it's possible that you did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
They were a couple who were being poly, and now they want to be monogamous, or one of them wants to be monogamous, which means both of them are non-monogamous. I'm not saying any of this is easy. This is simple to say. It doesn't mean it's easy to implement, but you're not broken if you were dating a couple that was open or exploring openness, and then they decided to go back off the market.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks, but I don't know that you can always predict how couples are going to be. And if there's a couple that's been open for 5 years or 10 years, and they would date other people anyway, even if you weren't in the mix, that might be a better indication than this is my first poly relationship with a couple who's never had an open relationship before. Those are just different situations.
I tend not to like to date. I'm a single poly. I'm not in a relationship right now. I have some lovers, but I tend not to like to date people that it's their first poly relationship. Mm-hmm. For me, it's just not a good fit.
You don't like to be people's midwives?
It tends to be a lot more work and clunkiness than I'm wanting to accommodate in my life right now. And there's nothing wrong either way. But especially as a new person coming out, it's if you can find someone who is more established and they have ground rules that they all understand, rather than someone who's also working out their own process, it can be easier. And it is, as a single person, it often does feel like the couple has more control, and then I don't have as much control.
couple privilege. Some people
Yeah,
call
and yeah, and there is often. Let's do a video about that next.
that. Okay.
But if you can, just be gentle with yourself and tune into what you want and what's right for you. It can feel really exciting. Oh my God, I finally found this couple that I want to be with. But remember to tune into what your needs are and what your boundaries are as well. And if you're not okay interfering with a relationship that's supposed to be monogamous, like Reid said, set a boundary, say no, thank you, and find other fish. There's some really good ones out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it's again simple advice, not always easy, and especially if you're suffering through heartbreak, or haven't been looking for a long time and haven't found anybody, and you're in a little bit of starvation kind of mode, or scarcity mode. These situations can be emotionally tough, but please don't give up.
Yeah.
Leave a comment.
Thanks for tuning in, Sex Geek. If you would like to continue with the brain sex, do me a favor and click subscribe right here. If you'd like to watch me on social media, that's where you're going to go. Next video, maybe? And if you really would like your own Sex Geek t-shirt, please click right here, right now. Boop. No, really, like...